From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 3rd, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,287 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.46 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,865. Antiwar.com reports a convoy of Kurdish troops has withdrawn from Manbij on Wednesday, according to the Syrian Defense Ministry, which estimates that around 400 of them are left. This was, by most accounts, materially all remaining Kurdish forces in Manbij. Manbij has been under the control of Kurdish forces and some small allied factions since 2017, when they seized the city with the support of U.S. forces. Turkey's military has announced intentions to invade the city, and large numbers of Turkish-backed rebels have gathered in the vicinity for this. At present, the only forces known to remain inside Manbij are U.S. and French troops, while a small number of Syrian army forces are deployed on the outskirts, intended to prevent Turkey and the rebels from seizing the city. What that's going to look like with the Kurds' withdrawal is unclear. Turkey wouldn't really have a justification to invade the city anymore at this point, but has long coveted the Euphrates River adjacent city as a staging area for attacks deeper into Syrian Kurdistan. The U.S. presumably does not intend to contest any Turkish advance, though it's not clear that they'll welcome the city being de facto seized by rebel groups that are aligned with Turkey. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc. UPI reports law enforcement officials in Houston arrested a 14-year-old on a murder charge Wednesday for a fatal crash spurred by a prank in which the boy and his friends threw eggs at motorists, according to the Harris County Sheriff. Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said officers booked the boy in the county juvenile detention center after being treated for a broken ankle sustained in the crash. The crash took place Tuesday after the boy, who was driving an SUV, and two companions allegedly threw eggs at fellow motorists. One, the driver of a 1970s model Lincoln, allegedly chased the teen and brandished a semi-automatic weapon. While fleeing the Lincoln, the 14-year-old ran a red light and struck a Ford F-150 pickup truck, causing the SUV and the pickup to roll into a nearby ditch. The driver of the F-150, whom Gonzalez identified as 45-year-old Sylvia Zavala, died. The sheriff described the woman as totally innocent. The driver of the Lincoln initially fled the scene, but Gonzalez said officials identified him and efforts are being made to interview him. No one else has been charged in the chase or subsequent crash. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports plant-based meat company Beyond Meat said on Wednesday the burger chain Carl's Jr. would add the firm's vegan imitation meat to its menu, the latest big-name restaurant chain to tweak its offerings to attract vegans and vegetarians. Los Angeles-based Beyond Meat, which counts actor Leonardo DiCaprio and Microsoft founder Bill Gates as investors, sells plant-based burger patties and sausages, heat and eat meals, and non-GMO foods at grocery store chains such as Kroger and Amazon's Whole Foods. Carl's Jr. said it would sell a meatless version of its famous Star Burger for $6.29 at most of its restaurants. Customers will also be able to order a Beyond Burger patty on any Carl's Jr. sandwich for an additional $2. The company uses ingredients that mimic the composition of animal-based meat, like proteins from peas, fava beans, and soy that look and cook like beef or chicken. More people are shifting towards vegan or vegetarian diets, perceiving it to be healthier amid growing concerns about animal welfare and the environmental impact of intensive animal farming. The company's founder, Ethan Brown, had earlier said the U.S. plant-based meat market could mirror the growth seen by the soy and almond milk industries. Beyond Meat's main competition, Impossible Foods, also launched burgers at more than 300 White Castle outlets in the United States in September. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Despite a long-held consensus pointing to the mid-20s as the final stage of brain maturation, a new study has found that the adolescent brain doesn't fully form until boys have avenged their father's murder.
New imaging studies suggest that the frontal cortex goes through extensive changes during the period of training when an adolescent boy prepares himself to track down and kill the man who took his father's life. But it's not until the boy stares deep into the murderer's eyes and then stabs him right in the heart that the two lobes fuse into a fully mature brain.
According to Dr. Laurie's findings, the myelin surrounding the teenage nerve synapses develops when boys stake out the home of their father's murderer, put themselves through grueling physical training, and fantasize again and again about how satisfying it will be when he finally makes the bastard who took everything from him beg for his life.
Now, if they let their father's killer slip through their grasp, or if they press the barrel of a gun to the back of his head and then realize they don't have what it takes to pull the trigger, then the amygdala is definitively stunted, and they'll have lifelong problems interpreting emotional information.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in lines here momentarily, where you can call in and bring up whatever is on your mind. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Jackie,
and Chris.
And despite about 320 different reports of Bitcoin dead.
Gosh, we should look that up, because I know 99. I think it's 99 Bitcoins maintains the Bitcoin death page. How many times a headline has come across that says Bitcoin is now dead?
Yeah,
so today.
Let me try to pull that up.
He'll pull
Today
a number.
It is Bitcoin's birthday.
It is one of the birthdays. I think we consider Bitcoin to have two birthdays. So the first one people talk about, and there tends to be a lot of social media around, is the release of Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper,
right,
which happened on Halloween.
Right. Let's call that the conception day.
Ooh, conception.
Then
the birthday. So now we can figure out what the conception cycle is for Bitcoin.
Right. Late October until January 3rd.
It's a short pregnancy.
Evidently.
Yeah.
January 3rd was the first time that we saw a block mined.
Yes.
And part of that, and we'll talk about that a little bit, was a little bit of a message to the world. Which I think was apropos. And
do you have that message, by the way?
I'm pulling up Telegram.
Message attached to the very first block, and I'm trying to find.
I have it.
The Bitcoin obituary 339 times.
330,
according to 99bitcoins.com.
But I'm going to go ahead and say that your answer was probably correct when you said 322. That was probably 322 at about 1 p.m. Eastern.
About 1:15, which would actually be the exact 10-year mark of that first block. And now one thing that's interesting, and again, we can get into some of that. We will get to the phones here in just a second. 855-450 free. After that first block, it was then almost a week until there was a second block mined. And one of the things a lot of supporters of Bitcoin will say, oh yeah, it's about every 10 minutes. Well, on average,
yeah.
But sometimes, it's 30, 40, 50 minutes, or in the case of between block 0 and block 1, 6 days.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's governed, it is software. And,
right.
People say, what is Bitcoin? Well, one correct answer is it's just software. And the software runs on something called a blockchain.
Right.
And there's nothing magical about that. It's something that runs on the internet, just like the web runs on the internet.
And email runs on the internet, and IRC and Usenet. Like, there are a bunch of things that are the internet.
Right.
I have to admit, I do love a particular analogy someone used trying to explain Bitcoin to a total tech noob. Imagine if leaving your car engine idling solves Sudoku puzzles that you could then trade for heroin.
Yeah, kind of.
But it's not just for heroin anymore.
Nope. I bought lunch earlier today with cryptocurrency. Actually, I used Dash.
Nice.
I didn't use Bitcoin.
That's still cryptocurrency.
Yeah. It is still cryptocurrency. And again, we'll get into more of this. Let's go to the phones. We've got Ron calling in from New York. Ron, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You're on the radio. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay. So I have 3 things to say. So first of all, subscribe to PewDiePie. Second of all, the 116th Congress was sworn in today, and there are big changes coming to Washington. And by big changes, I mean absolutely nothing is going to change, and the government is going to continue using extortion, going to continue to purge other countries. But third of all, what I wanted to say was, as you know, Bernie Sanders is thinking about running for the Democratic nomination in 2020.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought that he was about 9 billion years old, and he decided that he was just going to go fly around the world on the private jet that he wound up getting for endorsing Hillary.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because as much as I detest his ideas, what I'm starting to wonder is, because if you go back to 2012 when Ron Paul was seeking out the Republican nomination for president, a lot of conservative think tank like news sources, like especially Fox News, were just not giving him much news coverage, in spite of the fact that he was drawing huge crowds.
Yep.
Mainly because a lot of the people at Fox are warmongering neocons that agree with purging other countries. I'm almost wondering do you think, just out of curiosity, even though I detest Bernie Sanders, do you think that something like that could happen with him in 2020? Because right now...
Something like what? That he would run and not get news coverage on Fox, or he would run
on
like
CNN or MSNBC? Because right now, CNN and MSNBC, they've been putting out like lists of most rumored candidates for president that are Democrat, and none of them have been Bernie Sanders. Like, they've had Kamala Harris, they've had Joe Biden.
I've been taking polls that are advertised on Facebook. I guess the 40-year-old always votes woman demographic is very interesting to the Democrats, and Bernie Sanders is listed in the candidates that they're polling. They're basically testing various candidates' name recognition, favorability, and priorities of issues. And I've been diligently taking every single one of those to try and give a little libertarian spin on the platform.
Yeah, and I took one of those, and it said, what would you like to see a Democrat campaign for? And I put free ponies. And then there was something else, and I said Vermin Supreme. You know, it's like, who's your ideal Democratic candidate? Vermin Supreme.
Who do you pick? That's interesting. I think Bernie blocking will occur.
Ponies are a human right.
Right.
Ron, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. And I joke about the free ponies while simultaneously, like, I like Vermin Supreme. I've met him and spent time with him numerous times when he's in and out of character. And yeah, you know, like, I love the political satire that he does. And it's going to be interesting to see what he tries to do in 2020, because I've heard that he might try to make a serious run for the Libertarian nomination in 2020. I've also heard that he might wind up trying to get on all of the Republican primaries to challenge Donald Trump.
That's interesting.
I mean, he'll get, if he actually does, he'll get my debate token. He won't get my delegate vote, but he'll get my debate token, because I would love to see him in the debate.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, that wouldn't be the best. Oh, my inner troll is warring with, like, my good party activist who doesn't want to see that clipped on C-SPAN, like a certain somebody's bulging forehead veins from 2016.
Although it would be funny to see him glitter bomb the other Libertarian candidates like he did to Randall Terry at the New Hampshire Institute of Politics, which is why he's now banned from the campus of St. Anselm College.
Well, I think Darryl's performances on debates were way up there on my list of things I've seen the Libertarians do on national TV. But I got to go back to, what's his name? Was it Weeks?
Oh, yeah.
James Weeks?
James Weeks?
He was not running for president. He said he was running for chair just so he could get on stage. And then Nick left the room, and then,
Tuxedo thong. That's all I'll say. Let's go to Joe calling in from Alabama. Joe, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, we had a new Congress sworn in today, and my understanding, a Muslim got sworn in.
Probably. Two of them, I think.
Muslim.
Two of them, I
know
think.
You got a friend that's a Muslim, and why does the media want people to hate Muslims so bad?
I don't know.
Because they're different, and we've got to hate everybody that's different.
Well, I mean, which media are you watching? Because it really varies depending on your news source, whether they're trying to get you to hate Muslims or not.
Right, but the whole thing is the Muslim and Islam about the same, I believe, is the same thing, but they think that they're invading the country when really it's just the religion. And my understanding is the fastest growing religion in the world.
Maybe.
Joe, hold the line. Not sure if you've got more.
You.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today, the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we did mention Bitcoin at the beginning of the show because, well, it's Bitcoin's birthday, despite the 339 times over the last 10 years that it's been reported to have been totally dead. No, it's still alive and well, and despite what Warren Buffett said, probably rat poison squared. Nope. Paul Krugman said Bitcoin is basically a Ponzi scheme. Nope. Paul, you're thinking of Social Security. Jamie Dimon, you remember him. He's the guy that lost like $2 billion in the stock market for one of the big, huge, giant banks and then wound up getting a golden parachute.
Right.
He said Bitcoin is a fraud that will eventually blow up. No, you're thinking of the stock market that you were swindling people's money out of.
I would think he's talking about his own bank, which has been fined well over $2 billion.
Yeah, probably that as well.
For illegal activity.
But if you want to find out more info about Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies, then Bitcoin.com does a pretty good job reporting on a lot of stuff over at news.bitcoin.com. Or maybe you actually want to buy things with cryptocurrency. Well, they can help you out there as well because they've teamed up with the gift card specialist over at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, brands like Applebee's, Domino's, Home Depot, Uber, Hotels.com, Nike, and hundreds of others, then chances are you'll be able to find a gift card that you can use. Head over to giftcards.bitcoin.com. Pick the gift card that you want, and here's something very important. Make sure that it's available in the country where you live because, we're broadcast all over the world through the free-to-air satellite that covers most of Africa, also available online. So we do have listeners all around the world. So make sure that the gift card that you want from giftcards.bitcoin.com is available where you live. Follow the instructions on screen and make your payment using Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. Sit tight, and the gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com. Let's head back to the phones where we've got Joe calling in from Alabama. Joe, you were mentioning the new Congress getting sworn in earlier today, and you had asked a question about one of the Muslim members of Congress. And Chris, you said that you thought that there were two Muslim members of Congress. I know that there was a Muslim woman that got sworn in. First time a Muslim woman has been in Congress.
Yes, and it seems to me there was. I'll have to research it, but she's also being sworn in with Thomas Jefferson's copy of the Quran.
Okay,
which I thought was kind of interesting, and she thought it was too. This is dates back to 1734, I think so, something like that. But I thought that was kind of interesting.
Joe, any more thoughts?
I was wondering if that would be considered. When John F. Kennedy was one of the first Catholics,
right?
And is that going to be sort of the what do you call it? Where the norm will start going that way a little bit, where people start accepting it?
I don't know. I think people still think 9/11. That's their only association with a lot of Muslims, and and there's continued terrorism that occurs from Muslim extremists. That's just a fact. I love to debate that with anyone, but it is a fact that does still occur.
Right-wing extremists commit far more terrorist acts in the United States than Muslim extremists do.
I didn't limit limit my comment to the United States.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, then there's all kinds of extremists around the world.
Right. But even in the United States, we have left-wing extremists that have done all sorts of crazy things, too, like shoot up a bunch of congressmen. And I'm not going to weigh the benefits or costs of that.
Yeah, and then there's groups like ALF and ELF. ALF being the Animal Liberation Front, ELF being the Earth Liberation Front.
Economic or
ecological terrorism.
Eco-terrorism.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the Northwest, and people used to spike trees to try and protect the owl habitat.
Yep.
Here they spike trees to get the sap out of it, but I don't think that's the same thing you're talking about.
Different spike.
Kind of spike.
Yeah.
Can I turn a minute? Y'all talking about the cryptocurrency?
Yeah, go ahead.
Celebration. If you had a limited, say, $100, and over time the fees on that, would that $100 dwindle down to nothing because of the fees?
Well, fees are a part of some cryptocurrencies, and they're negligible in other cryptocurrencies. So about a year ago, say 2 years ago to 1 year ago, there was a huge spike in Bitcoin fees.
Right.
Bitcoin fees were a couple pennies, and then they were a quarter, and then they were 50 cents and $1. And I think at the highest point, the average fee hit somewhere around $34 a transaction.
Yeah, but it's a transaction fee. It's not a fee for holding, correct?
Right, correct. It would never happen if you were just holding on to it. But if you were using it frequently, that would be an issue.
It's not like a bank account where you get charged every month when you're below a balance. So if you just want to buy and hold, I don't see how you would be paying transaction fees until you exchange it for something else or spend it.
Right, you don't. But in the transaction fee question, that's pretty much become a non-starter with Bitcoin. It's still there, but that's supply and demand. If you want your transaction process quickly, you can pay. It's an option to pay a transaction fee to get it done faster.
I mentioned buying lunch earlier today using Dash, where I think my fee was 0.2 of a penny. Maybe.
That's basically nothing then.
Yeah.
That's basically nothing.
Yeah, so there are some cryptos to where the fees are basically non-existent.
Right. At one time, there were a lot of bad wallets. Have that been cleaned up to where there's not as many crooks taking your money?
I'd say there are fewer than there were in the past, but there's still some, I would say, unscrupulous things going on with wallets. To me,
precautions?
The precautions. Yeah, the best precaution is hold on to your own keys and don't trust anybody else with your Bitcoin, which is another thing that they're celebrating today.
Right, and
hold your own keys.
There's actually a bunch of articles, and Joe, thank you for the call. A bunch of articles about proof of keys.
Yes, that's going around today, and it's a good idea. Basically, what that means is with Bitcoin, if you have a Bitcoin, that is your Bitcoin as long as you're the one who controls the private key. The private key is like a key that goes into the lock that unlocks it. And if you have that and nobody else does, you're safe. Your Bitcoin's safe.
Right.
But if you trust that key to somebody else, like in some wallets, they hold your private keys. Then you
like an exchange.
Yeah, or exchanges. That's another good example. You don't really own your Bitcoin. Somebody else has the same access to it as you do.
Right. It's kind of like putting something in a safety deposit box at the bank and then trusting the bank to hold the key to unlock the safety deposit box.
Good analogy. And that's the big thing. And that's why, a lot of us advocate controlling your own keys. Don't trust somebody else with them. You have control of it.
Right. And there are a lot of wallets now that you can choose from where, they give you the keys. Like, you can download the file and here are the keys.
Right.
I mean,
question is, do they have it still?
You can basically look at the historical development of other forms of money and banking, and we can talk about that when we come back.
Plus your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts about whatever is on your mind, whether it be Congress, cryptocurrencies, replacing Congress with a blockchain, maybe. I don't know. Somebody probably wants to do it, right?
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Jackie,
and Chris.
And we've been talking about both cryptocurrencies and Congress. One of those things is good, and the other one is Congress. And the reason, and I know that we do cover cryptocurrencies a good bit on this show, but the reason that we're talking about it today is it's Bitcoin's birthday.
It is the
Bitcoin
Genesis
is
block
now
day.
10 years old.
Are we gonna sing?
No,
I already did. So I won't trouble you with that again.
Even though Happy Birthday is officially in the public domain, no.
No one wants to hear us sing.
Yes. So, Jackie, you were about to make a point in the last segment about sort of the evolution of money, and comparing that with crypto.
So, crypto, it's kind of like we're going back to the beginning of money again. And so it used to be, people would have gold and silver, but they didn't want to lug it around. And so they would take it specifically to goldsmiths who were already handling and securing a large amount of gold, and they would get little deposit receipts in return. And then eventually those deposit receipts began to be used as a medium of exchange as well. And the deposit receipts that the goldsmiths were issuing began to function as money. And then the goldsmiths figured out, since people weren't coming back and claiming their gold for long periods of time, they could lend it out, et cetera, and thus banking was born. So they
specifically
could also,
fractional reserve.
Yeah, and they could also...
Well, not initially.
Yeah.
Not initially.
No, not initially, but once they started lending out the money...
Right.
That's where the fractional reserve came in.
Agreed.
Yeah, and so what... we're probably, if you want to know what's going to happen in terms of security of any kind of cryptocurrency when you're not keeping it like on your own phone or flash drive, but you're keeping it on some like online exchange or wallet online, you could just look at the history of how money developed and how banking developed with commodity money and then gold-backed or other commodity-backed money, and then eventually just moving on to just issuing pieces of paper.
And there is speculation that Mt. Gox may have been doing some kind of fractional reserve back
Theft.
during... Right, basically, because, nobody signed up to allow Mt. Gox to loan out their Bitcoin while claiming that you're holding my Bitcoin.
And that's the big difference.
Right.
And that's the big difference in this conversation. I think... See, so there is this idea of Bitcoin and that you can be your own bank. If you want to take on that responsibility, you can. If you want to trust someone else with your private keys, you have every right to do it. Just realize that puts your money at risk. If somebody steals your Bitcoin because you did this, then that's just straight up theft.
Right.
What is a little more scary, and a good friend of mine, Caitlin Long, discusses this a lot in a series of Forbes articles that she's written, but it is the Wall Streetization of Bitcoin that is most terrifying to her. And once Wall Street gets a hold of an idea, they're reluctant to let it go, and that has to do with basically selling shares of Bitcoin. If they can make these...
you're talking about like the Bitcoin ETF?
Right, exactly. But it'll go beyond that. Wall Street wants to take it beyond that as Bitcoin grows, and you'll end up with many more, quote, Bitcoins, unquote, Bitcoins in circulation that were never honestly created. And that's a real issue that a lot of people in crypto are worried about.
Yeah, and I mean, basically the history of finance and financial regulation is it's just a constant arms race. Like, and one of the things about crypto is there isn't going to really, what kind of regulating body are you going to have? None. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see what happens to finance in the absence of any regulation whatsoever. And I'm kind of curious, but it's sort of a slow down to watch the train wreck kind of way.
Well, what regulation does something like Bitcoin it doesn't belong to anybody?
I know. That's what I'm saying, is we're going to see what happens to financial markets in the total absence of regulation.
Was there a regulation of gold?
Yeah, there was, like how much you could take out, how much, like there's...
No, that was a regulation of the banking system.
Right.
Yeah.
So where's the regulation of the AU, the precious metal?
When Franklin, hold on, when FDR said that nobody can own it within the United States,
and you have to sell it to the government. There are things like that, but again,
minting
money,
coins, things like that from the gold, measurements.
That's just going to be a haircut.
Like some of the earlier regulations would be just weights and measures, going around and testing that the scales that goldsmiths and other people who turned out to be bankers and merchants using were correct.
Right, but is that really about regulation, or is that just about honesty?
It was usually a service that eventually became to be provided by the law, going around and checking weights and measures, and that's why we very bizarrely to this day have weights and measures like being, what is it, NIST?
NIST, absolutely.
And it's like that grew out of going around and measuring that people's like gold and silver scales were accurate. And so that's how that became like checking, is a pound a pound, is a second a second.
No, you're letting the cat out of the bag.
Yeah. The idea that how am I letting the cat out of the bag?
That apparently the way that phrase came about is the way people would sort of fake the weights is they would have a cat inside of a bag
that was for pigs.
Okay. But pigs can be used as currency. Darryl, is that what you're asserting?
No, you're conflating two different things, Darryl.
I had always been told that the term letting the cat out of the bag had to do with people faking the weights when they were putting things on scales where they would put a dead cat inside of a bag.
You can get other things that are going to seem more like gold than dead cats. It had to do with like saying, "Oh, I'm selling you piglets" or whatever, and it was really cats.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that's a digression. So yeah, I mean, the whole idea that government should be regulating, weights and measures and whatnot came out of testing, gold and silver scales for goldsmiths, then eventually became banks and other merchants.
Right. So here's a good point, because it is very difficult. Like you could hand me a piece of shiny rock and tell me it's gold, and I trust you, and I'm probably going to say, okay, Jackie, if you say so. But I don't know that. It's very, very difficult for me to ascertain that is truly that. Or you could say that this is 2.1 ounces of gold, and I'd have no real idea because I don't carry a scale on me.
Right.
Yep.
When we get into Bitcoin and
you
crypto,
don't hang out with the right crowd.
Evidently not. Yeah, I know. There's a certain crowd that carries around scales with them. But the thing about Bitcoin and the ideals behind crypto are that you don't need that. That you can do most of those bank functions, most of those regulatory functions yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how much you want to acquire and hold in cryptocurrency. Because I do think at some point you don't want to be carrying around, hundreds of thousands of dollars on your cell phone or a flash drive. You want to put it in the cloud somewhere.
Ooh,
and
no.
what I'm worried about, I'm worried less about these exchanges and other online places to hold your Bitcoin engaging in fractional reserve banking, because it'd be pretty clear that they're making loans. I'm worried about them trying to short it and then it doesn't actually go down, where they're going to take the Bitcoin they have in their possession, sell it on the market, and then assuming it's going down, try and buy it back at a lower price.
And it doesn't
it doesn't actually go down, and then all the Bitcoin is gone, and then they just take the money and run.
I'm good with that, because that means that's just the market at work, and those businesses, if there's anything left of them, no one will ever do business with them again. And that's the part of the market that I do like. I hate when governments interfere and say, you're too big to fail, so we got to bail you out. Well, more to the point, you have to bail them.
Let's go to the phones. We can continue this discussion. Rev calling in from Florida. Rev, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, hi there. Yeah, I wasn't going to call in. I was interested in the crypto thing. I did have a question about that, and I also had a bit more of a controversial statement, I guess, to the kind of goofy-sounding Southern guy earlier that was like, what's wrong with Islam? So whichever one you want me to do first.
Pick one, and we'll come back with you in just a moment, plus your calls and thoughts. Welcome, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNLife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNLife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Oh, yeah, plus we've got the Discord call-in lines that you can use, and generally the sound quality will be better, assuming a couple of things: that you use headphones, that way there's not some kind of echo, and secondly, that you have at least a half-decent microphone, and that you also have a decent internet connection. So if you're connecting to the internet using, two tin cans, and you don't have a good microphone and you don't have headphones, it's not going to sound that good.
So at least a 1200 baud modem. That's what you're saying?
I'd say at least 256.
256 baud modem?
Or I don't remember. what was the?
Well, we had.
What was the highest thing before?
256K.
Yeah, that thing.
Oh, yeah, 56K was like a real standard there for a long time for like asynchronous lines.
Yeah, but then 256 is like more than 56.
That was like ISDN times.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get 228K channels, bombed them together, and wow, now you got 100 or 256.
Yeah, that thing. But
Yeah.
I think most people are using like cable now anyway.
Yeah, just us dinosaurs remember those bad times when you would look at a picture online and just watch it slowly scroll down.
You know, there is an
by
onion
line.
thing about the depixelization of photos on BBSs. It's actually pretty hilarious.
I'll have to check it out.
But let's go back to the phones, 855-450 free. Oh, I forgot to tell you where you can find the Discord call-in lines. They're on Discord, obviously, but you can find that over at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Let's head back to Rev calling in from Florida. Rev, you're on Free Talk Live. Continue with your thoughts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll get the little one out of the way then with the Bitcoin. Plain and simple, you guys seem to know a lot more about it than me, but do you think that it's kind of too close to call right now, you know, with all these people losing faith in it and so forth? Like, given the history of the fluctuations, do you think it's stupid that people are like jumping off the bandwagon so soon, or what?
I'll go ahead and weigh in because I'm what's known as a Bitcoin maximalist. I believe in this technology, and I think we haven't even begun to see where it's going to go. And there are a lot of people that disagree with that. A lot of people say that, no, it's going to be this crypto or another crypto. I think Bitcoin has a unique set of properties so far a network effect that is pushing it.
And it's kind of like looking at like the .com bust in the year 2000 and be like, do you think this internet thing is going to last?
Yeah, look at who would ever thought?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this internet thing.
Right.
Yeah, so just because like there's big fluctuations in the market doesn't mean that the underlying technology isn't, you know, fundamentally a game changer. I'm not a super expert on blockchain, but just the whole idea of this decentralized money it's going to be interesting. I don't know if it's going to be interesting in a good way or a bad way or just an interesting way, but the idea of this completely decentralized form of currency is definitely going to change things. And, you know, when they're writing the, you know, economics textbooks in a couple hundred years, like, this is going to be the start of a new chapter, like literally in the book or whatever we have
a
for
new kind
books
of money.
Yes, exactly. Like that, they're going to cover this in economic history textbooks.
For good or ill.
Yeah, and it's good. I think it will be seen as sort of a major development in economic history. We'll see if it's a good one or a bad one.
Yeah, and here was a quote. One guy I follow on Twitter, Safadina Moose, who wrote the Bitcoin Standard. He tweeted today, and I thought this was just spot on. It's Bitcoin has now been operating for 10 years without confirming a single fraudulent transaction and without deviating from its original monetary issuance schedule, which is, again, that, you know, new coins are created about every 10 minutes. That's for 10 years straight, that the blockchain itself hasn't processed a single transaction that's proven to be fraudulent. Now, that doesn't mean that fraud didn't occur between two people using said Bitcoin. But that's pretty striking. And when was the last time you've seen anything go 10 years without a substantial
when's
problem?
the last time there was a fraudulent charge of somebody's Visa or MasterCard or American Express or Discover?
I was going to say
probably 5 seconds.
Right. And I was going to say Jamie Dimon he got fined, 5-6 times last year for billions of dollars.
That kind of fraud does happen in Bitcoin, and just that you're getting access to somebody's something somehow. It's going to be a lot harder with Bitcoin, but I think the type of fraud that would be analogous would be, when was the last time somebody passed a counterfeit bill?
Probably about 5 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the answer. I figured you guys' answers would be something along those lines, and I thought it was stupid that some people are kind of just giving up on it, but I think the hardcore people are smarter than that. Anyway,
right, and you know hold on, to sort of continue on with that, I can kind of explain why some people are jumping off the bandwagon. It's because they were thinking, oh, this is the next big, huge, giant, greatest investment thing. Oh, look how fast it's shooting up. Oh, and it's going down. I better bail on this thing.
I had people last year convinced and telling me repeatedly that, you know, they bought $2,000 worth of Bitcoin, and next year at this time, when I'm driving my Lambo, You know, it was. It was just absurd.
And last year not last year, but 2017,
yes,
during the Free State Blockchain Digital Assets Conference, I was on a panel with a bunch of CEOs of businesses that accepted crypto, and they were all saying nobody should ever spend their crypto. You should only ever HODL because it's an investment. It's not a currency. These are CEOs of businesses that accept it as currency, saying don't use it as currency.
Yeah.
I use it as currency. Like my general policy has been,
proof of beer.
Yeah. Well, no, like I get paid not in Bitcoin, but Bitcoin Cash, and I spend it when it's worth more than it was when I got it.
Right.
So it's like, Chris, his day job is he runs a store selling all sorts of interesting crafts and things, and that's where I did the bulk of my Christmas shopping with my Bitcoin Cash.
Thank you, Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, and it was worth I got about $50 more worth of stuff than it had been worth when I'd got it a few weeks prior.
Right.
So it already gone up by $50, and I think I bought an extra $20 worth of beer than it had been. So
probably.
And at some level, too small to measure, the U.S. dollar's value dropped by some very tiny measure.
Well, dropped
during
against what?
Well, one could say against Bitcoin
itself,
or against other major currencies around the world.
Like, are you talking about how much a basket of goods costs?
Well,
like inflation, because currencies are going up and down all the time.
Right, but
so you're talking about consumer price index.
Yeah, if we were just look at CPI over time, the dollar definitely. I don't know if even that exact period of time it dropped, but it might have been some very small.
So the problem with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency right now is it's not currently being used as a unit of account. Like if you see,
it is on a couple of websites,
but it's not. But they're not pricing it in Bitcoin. They're just translating the price from some other underlying price and some other underlying currency into a cryptocurrency price. People are not setting their prices in Bitcoin, so you can't.
Yes, they do.
Really, you'll have to show me
on a large scale.
On a large scale, because right now,
cryptocurrency exchanges.
I'm talking about buying actual physical things. So you can't go like, okay, a thing of milk is worth this much, and now it's worth this much.
But I have found a couple of websites that sell airline tickets. And Rev, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome, 855-450 free. But I found a couple of websites that sell airline tickets.
Right.
And they list the prices in Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, because of the thing that they're selling, they're having to convert from USD to crypto,
right?
Because they don't actually control the product that's being sold. They're being a middleman.
So they don't actually use it as a unit of account. That's just sort of they're just doing the currency exchange math for you, but the price is still going up and down. It's an underlying price in US dollars or euros or whatever, and then they're just, throwing it through the current price of Bitcoin and posting that number, but it's still priced in U.S. dollars fundamentally.
So based on that rationale, and we will get back to the phones, if an American goes to Europe, they're not actually using euros because they're converting what they spend to USD.
No, because when they go to Europe, they're getting euros and then they're buying things with the euros.
Right, but they're always in the back of their head, how much is this costing me in
dollars?
Dollars, which is my home currency that I have to worry about because that's what my bank account is in, and I'm just using my debit card.
But there's people who live in Europe and spend, earn and spend in euros. We don't have anybody yet who is really going out and buying a basket of goods of everyday groceries and gasoline and whatnot in prices fixed in Bitcoin, where we can have a Bitcoin consumer price index.
Right. But they also have force of law behind them saying you have to use these things. If it's so great, why do you have to force people to use it?
Your calls and thoughts welcome, 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. FreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFreedomFree reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. Join American Cannabis Summit online at acs2018.com. Attendance is free. That's acs2018.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 3rd, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,287 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.46 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,865. Antiwar.com reports a convoy of Kurdish troops has withdrawn from Manbij on Wednesday, according to the Syrian Defense Ministry, which estimates that around 400 of them are left. This was, by most accounts, materially all remaining Kurdish forces in Manbij. Manbij has been under the control of Kurdish forces and some small allied factions since 2017, when they seized the city with the support of U.S. forces. Turkey's military has announced intentions to invade the city, and large numbers of Turkish-backed rebels have gathered in the vicinity for this. At present, the only forces known to remain inside Manbij are U.S. and French troops, while a small number of Syrian army forces are deployed on the outskirts, intended to prevent Turkey and the rebels from seizing the city. What that's going to look like with the Kurds' withdrawal is unclear. Turkey wouldn't really have a justification to invade the city anymore at this point, but has long coveted the Euphrates River adjacent city as a staging area for attacks deeper into Syrian Kurdistan. The U.S. presumably does not intend to contest any Turkish advance, though it's not clear that they'll welcome the city being de facto seized by rebel groups that are aligned with Turkey. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc. UPI reports law enforcement officials in Houston arrested a 14-year-old on a murder charge Wednesday for a fatal crash spurred by a prank in which the boy and his friends threw eggs at motorists, according to the Harris County Sheriff. Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said officers booked the boy in the county juvenile detention center after being treated for a broken ankle sustained in the crash. The crash took place Tuesday after the boy, who was driving an SUV, and 2 companions allegedly threw eggs at fellow motorists. One, the driver of a 1970s model Lincoln, allegedly chased the teen and brandished a semi-automatic weapon. While fleeing the Lincoln, the 14-year-old ran a red light and struck a Ford F-150 pickup truck, causing the SUV and the pickup to roll into a nearby ditch. The driver of the F-150, whom Gonzalez identified as 45-year-old Sylvia Zavala, died. The sheriff described the woman as totally innocent. The driver of the Lincoln initially fled the scene, but Gonzalez said officials identified him and efforts are being made to interview him. No one else has been charged in the chase or subsequent crash. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports plant-based meat company Beyond Meat said on Wednesday the burger chain Carl's Jr. would add the firm's vegan imitation meat to its menu, the latest big-name restaurant chain to tweak its offerings to attract vegans and vegetarians. Los Angeles-based Beyond Meat, which counts actor Leonardo DiCaprio and Microsoft founder Bill Gates as investors, sells plant-based burger patties and sausages, heat and eat meals, and non-GMO foods at grocery store chains such as Kroger and Amazon's Whole Foods. Carl's Jr. said it would sell a meatless version of its famous Star Burger for $6.29 at most of its restaurants. Customers will also be able to order a Beyond Burger patty on any Carl's Jr. sandwich for an additional $2. The company uses ingredients that mimic the composition of animal-based meat, like proteins from peas, fava beans, and soy that look and cook like beef or chicken. More people are shifting towards vegan or vegetarian diets, perceiving it to be healthier amid growing concerns about animal welfare and the environmental impact of intensive animal farming. The company's founder, Ethan Brown, had earlier said the U.S. plant-based meat market could mirror the growth seen by the soy and almond milk industries. Beyond Meat's main competition, Impossible Foods, also launched burgers at more than 300 White Castle outlets in the United States in September. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
America is at a crossroads on many issues, leading many to ask, is it time for the president to blow the silver horn left behind by the Founding Fathers in case the country ever needed them? Of course, the horn, which has been sitting in the Oval Office since 1817, has never been used by a commander-in-chief, but many Americans think now might be the time to summon our forefathers. Which Founding Fathers would come back?
All of them. Look, when you have a bug problem, you call the exterminator. When you have an America problem, you call the Founding Fathers. They know what to do.
We have to keep in mind the Founding Fathers left us with a warning. If you blow the horn with less than pure intentions, it will turn to tin and can never be used.
But a president has to take risks, have the courage to admit that his administration is not all-knowing, and blow that magic silver horn to summon someone who is.
Yes, but what if we become too reliant on them and they disappear after the next new moon, as was written?
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That is how you can call in and bring up whatever is on your mind and talk to us. The us in studio tonight is Darryl,
Jackie,
and Chris.
And we've been talking a lot about cryptocurrency because today is Bitcoin's birthday. January 3rd, 2009 at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time, the first block was mined, block 0, and it had the following message attached. 03, January 2009. Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
Unbelievable.
I'm so used to reading things as banker bailout, but here it said bailout for the banks.
Yeah.
And if you recall what happened just a couple of months prior, oh yeah, there's the bailout of the banks.
Yeah, and interestingly, today the Times, which is what he was quoting.
Yes.
I'll see if I can dig it up, but the cover of that same newspaper that Satoshi quoted in that first block basically has a story about exploding student debt. And I think that was kind of interesting.
I can tell you all about that. So when they reformed the student loan system, they made them not really loans anymore, and people respond to incentives. So it became free money that you just get it now as much as you want, basically. I mean, there's an annual limit, but if you go to grad school, up to the cost of attendance, which can be inflated by your university, and you can just keep getting grad plus loan after grad plus loan after grad plus loan. And you only have to start paying it back when you're out of college. You only have to pay back a percentage of your income. And after 10 years for public service or 30 years for other people, they forgive the balance. So basically, it's not a loan anymore. It's just getting money now in exchange for having a slightly higher progressive income tax rate later.
Right. And
the way they were able to do that is because they said that all loans are now federally guaranteed.
Right. And this was part of the motivation behind Bitcoin was, if your system's screwed up and your money's screwed up, you're really hosed. You have nowhere to turn. But if you introduce a currency that can be trustworthy and is mildly deflationary instead of mildly
deflation isn't very good either.
Yes, thank you, Keynes. No, okay.
No, it's not, because then people
yes, because they'll hold on to it and they won't spend it and we won't have velocity of money. Oh my God, this is exactly what Keynes taught. And my argument is that Keynes was insane on almost every level. But there are a lot of economists that are trained in that thought. What more liberty-minded people, I think, will look at is Austrian economics and the idea that your money should be sound, that if government is decreasing the value of your money on a consistent basis, that's theft.
The thing is, we have real-world examples that we can look at, like Japan's lost decade, and part of the problem is because their currency was deflating, people were hanging on to it because they're like, well, if I hang on to it, I can buy more with it later. And so the economy slowed down because people stopped spending.
Because we have to keep spending going. That's all Keynesianism is based on. The idea that you have to spend to save. These are the sorts of things that just remind me of Orwell. The idea that savings is a bad thing, that
it's
we
not
can't
a bad
do
thing,
it.
But
no.
If people just stop buying things they would normally buy, that is going to be a decrease of economic activity.
Right, but Keynes...
People aren't going to stop buying groceries.
Right, that's the whole thing. It's a silliness, and basically what Keynesianism teaches and what the Chicago School teaches, quite frankly, is that that debt is good. That's another Keynesian thing. That debt is absolutely good. The more people in debt, the better off our economy is doing.
Well, the federal government seems to think
no.
$21 trillion of debt.
Keynes repeatedly, and Krugman to this day talks about how it's a good thing that we're $21 trillion in debt, how this is responsible Keynesian economics. That just shows
to be counter-cyclical, and the problem is they never get to the part where in good times raise taxes and pay it off. That's
agreed.
The problem.
Now, Keynes did say things like that, but there's a difference between Keynes and Keynesianism. No, we can't, Darryl. What do you want to do? Talk to callers?
In a moment, let's go to Sarah calling in from Albuquerque. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, yes. Our state legislature actually wants to increase the penalties for careless and reckless drivers.
Okay.
Increase the penalty to what?
I think what we have now is like 3 months in jail and $1,000 fine.
Okay. So increase it to life imprisonment.
Well, I do not know what they have in mind.
What do you want them to wind up doing? Do you want life imprisonment for everybody that does anything that you deem to be reckless driving?
Well, I would like maybe a year in jail, or maybe increase the bond to maybe $5,000.
So Sarah, I got a misdemeanor for reckless driving in Virginia because I was speeding by more than 20 miles over the speed limit, and the reason that it was where Highway 360 dropped down as it approached a town from like 65 to like 35 or something, and I didn't see the sign. And there weren't that many cars on the road, and this, of course, was a speed trap that the police loved to wait right there after that. So are you saying that the world would be a better place if I'd gone to jail for a year because I didn't see a sign on a road that didn't have a lot of traffic and there was a cop waiting there at the speed trap to nail me, I should have gone to jail for a year and the world would be a better place.
Is that it?
Well, you know what? If your speeding ended in like fatalities, and then I would not want them to do jail time. Like, for example, over here, they run over the same pedestrian 2 times.
Yeah, you keep talking about people running over the same pedestrian twice, but that's not the same. Reckless driving, as Jackie just said, could be something as simple as speed limit drops from 65 to 35. Right. You're still going 65. You're more than 20 miles over the speed limit. That, by legal definition, is reckless driving, even though you never ran over a pedestrian, you never ran a stoplight because there's not a stoplight. You never harmed anybody. The only thing you did was failed to see a stop or a speed limit sign and kept going the same speed that you had been going that was the safe, legal speed half a mile back.
And Sarah, I got to ask, do you feel that harsher fines and harsher penalties will save people's lives?
Well, of course. We only struck 800 pedestrians and killed 86 of them.
Do you think that was because people knew that they could get a low fine for hitting a pedestrian? See, to me, when I hear you talk about this stuff, what I see is what libertarians would look at and say, that person who caused the harm needs to be held responsible for their actions. And no one would disagree with you.
Right.
But when you implement broad stroke laws like reckless driving, and these guys just great perfect examples of an attempt to do the right thing going awry by punishing someone for getting caught in a speed trap way in excess of what the alleged crime was. You know what I mean?
Increased pedestrian fatalities by a lot? Seatbelts, because drivers were less careful once they knew they were less likely to die in a wreck. Yeah. So should we take away seatbelts? Should we install like a giant metal spike in the center of the steering wheel that's aimed at the driver's chest?
That would work.
Everybody would probably drive a lot safer.
I would not go so far as to install a spike, Sarah. Thank you for the call. But there have been examples of cities in Europe where they removed all street signs.
Yeah.
And what wound up happening is pedestrians being hit decreased, pedestrians dying from being hit decreased.
Right. How about accidents?
Vehicle accidents decreased.
God,
because nobody can find where they're going.
Right. They're all.
But people were more careful.
Yeah, I believe that.
You know,
we just need self-driving cars to hurry up and get here.
And then I got to trust Elon Musk. And I don't trust Elon Musk.
What about those things that allow you to go from one place to teleporters?
Now we're talking.
Your
as long
calls
as Elon
and
Musk
thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dynavite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies, grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynavite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic.
Inviting you and your pets to Dynavite.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Jackie.
And Chris.
And we've been talking a good bit about cryptocurrency, and what better way to wind up spreading the good news of crypto, if you will, than through an outreach tool. Something that is printable, business card size, that you can actually give to a service provider that also has money on it. Yeah, that would be Crypto Tip. And again, if you do give these to a service provider, you preferably give that in addition to a good cash tip. That way they don't think that, you know, you're just giving them some worthless little piece of paper. And once they scan the QR code on the Crypto Tip, it brings up an explanation of cryptocurrency, walks them through how to install a wallet, and then allows them to claim the amount that you have put on the tip. And here's the best part. If they don't claim the crypto after a certain period of time that you select, it comes back to you. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you wind up getting an email alert. Create as many as you want over at cryptotip.org. And keep in mind, 6 per page, in case you're trying to figure out, you know, like, how many can I print? 6 per page. Again, excellent outreach tool, business card size, printable cryptocurrency tips. And right now, it's available with Dash and Bitcoin Cash. Cryptotip.org. And again, one of the reasons that we've been talking a good bit about crypto tonight is it's crypto, specifically Bitcoin's birthday. The 10th birthday, January 3rd, 2009, is when that first block was mined. The 0 block that had the message, and I just lost the message, unless, Chris, you've got it pulled up here.
Oh, Darryl.
Here it is.
I can't
The
save
times. 03, January 2009. Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
Right, and that's a reference to the cover of the London Times, and that was what was on the cover. In a way, he was sort of saying, see, I really did mine this block just today.
Right.
I didn't do a billion of these things in the background and then release it.
Right. And again, the second block, which is block 1, came out, or not came out, but was mined roughly a week later, and then it's been on average about 10 minutes ever since.
Yep. And all these collections of blocks, each time there's a reward attached to each one. A little bit more Bitcoin are released into the world. Right now there's 17 million and change Bitcoins that have been mined so far. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins mined.
Yep.
And that is not expected to occur till 2140. So that's why Bitcoin, the idea is to be a semi-deflationary currency.
Right. And I'm on coinmarketcap.com right now, and looks like the total market cap of all cryptocurrencies is $129.787 billion.
So cryptocurrencies have... that number is bigger than the GDP of a number of nations, a large number of nations.
Yes, because one would be a number, but this probably bigger than dozens of countries, GDPs.
I know a guy who charts that. I'll see if I can find it.
See if you can pull that up. Let's go to the phones real quick. Again, 855-450 free is that call-in line. We've got J. Chris calling in from Arizona. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
All right. So I had a question about what do they base Bitcoin off of? Because I learned in econ that they base money off of gold.
They used
so what
to.
are they basing it all off of?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and Bitcoin gets compared a lot to gold, and it gets compared a lot to dollars. Currencies do not have to be based on anything. And that's why we have fiat currencies. That's the predominant currency in the world is the U.S. dollars.
The word fiat means by decree.
Right. And literally, let it be so. So this is worth $1 because I, the ruler, say so.
Right. The U.S. dollar right now is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government, which basically translates it's backed up by the military and how much stuff we can blow up.
Right. Bitcoin is not backed. It is just scarce.
I'm not really sure what that was.
Well, I do have a point to say about money. So money doesn't have to be backed by anything to function as money.
No.
It basically, money is just this giant agreement that we all have that it's worth something. And it's even with gold, we had to agree, hey, this is worth something other than just it's pretty.
Nobody had to agree because people already assumed the value that it had. And not only that, but not just the people in the room, but people in foreign countries and people in other societies also said, oh, they have Goomba Gule, which was their word for gold. I'm just making that up. But whatever it happened to be, that they saw that it had value and they valued it as such. So gold became an international standard for trade. And that was it. And that's why governments and banks began to accumulate gold, and why banks, for all their derision of Bitcoin and all their derision of gold standards, oh, that's antiquated, that's insane. Why the hell do they still keep it in their vaults? Why are central banks around the globe trying to acquire more gold if that's a failed idea?
Didn't Paul Krugman say, well, it's tradition?
Yeah, I mean,
he was questioned one time, and Ron Paul said, well, why not hold on to diamonds or pearls? Well, tradition.
Why even do that? If the idea of a scarce commodity is no longer desirable as money because you can just print it out of paper and that's the best way to go, then why hold any gold at all?
It probably is just tradition. That's kind of a thing, is you get sort of this path dependency in various institutions and cultural norms where people do just keep doing things because that's how they've always done it, and changing would require a lot of effort, and it's just hard to get people to change. That happens.
That's right. So
it really
why
could just be tradition.
So why are the Chinese buying up gold mines and investing their own money in Africa? Huge, expensive money to go in and acquire more gold.
I mean, just
Why
because
is
people
this
are
happening?
buying up a bunch of stuff doesn't mean that it has some inherent value. People do silly things. Like, do you remember Beanie Babies and pet rocks? Like,
so you're saying the acquisition of gold is a silly thing?
I'm saying it doesn't necessarily have a 100% rational basis.
It does in Austrian economics or in other economic systems. It doesn't in Keynesian economics, where the belief that money should just be printed, that debt is good.
I'm not saying money should just be printed. I'm saying that money doesn't have to be backed by something to be money.
No.
Yeah.
No, and one of the most famous examples was those giant stone wheels that were used in the South Pacific. Do you ever see pictures of those things?
Stone money.
Right, right. And they were what, like 10, 12 feet around with a big hole in them?
I think the largest is 7-foot diameter.
Right, but this functioned by every standard as a really stable money for hundreds and hundreds of years because it was rare. It was impossible for anyone to go out and gather more of these, and they were made of a certain kind of stone that wasn't even found on their island, and it had all these things. It functioned so well as a perfect store of value and a unit of account and a money until British explorers found the island, and they saw what was going on, and they're like, well, we need coconuts here. And it seems like if we go to that other island and get a bunch of these big stones, we can have lots of coconuts. They destroyed the currency.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
U.S. officials assure Hong Kong that their protest is just one of many issues the White House is staying silent on, and an old guy at a hostel is down to party. This is the Onion Week in Review. Stunned officials from the Marine Conservation Institute announced this week that the past half-century of climate change and habitat loss somehow hasn't managed to take down the and parrotfish. Biologists stress that despite destructive chemical runoff, rising ocean temperatures, and overfishing, the persistent little shits were somehow plugging right along like nothing had even happened.
You look at the oil spills, greenhouse gases, and God knows what else we're throwing at them, and you think, yeah, those subtropical should have been wiped out decades ago. But nope, these sons of bitches are still around and doing better than ever.
In other news, a grasshopper is dismembered by a future Supreme Court justice. A man having a great time will soon have to apologize to everyone, and Rand Paul pretends to be asleep so his dad will carry him in from the car.
This is the Onion News Network.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. We've been talking a lot about cryptocurrency and, well, just sort of the different theories behind money. And there are several theories behind money. Specifically, what is money? Is inflation good? Is deflation good? Should we maybe try to not have too much of either? Chris, you were talking about the Yap stole money. And then there was also in parts of the Americas before European colonialism, there was wampum that was used, just various kinds of different things. So you can talk about that or whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE.
So what Chris said about how when the British showed up and figured this out and they just went and got more of these big rocks and destroyed the currency, that's actually an example of one of the inherent problems with commodity-based money like gold or silver is every now and then they find a new deposit of gold or silver somewhere, open a new mine, and then there's just a random influx of money into the economy.
Yep, you're going to have a temporary decrease in the value. Absolutely.
Bezos want to go mine asteroids for gold or something?
Like so if you wanted to go back to a gold standard or silver standard, as soon as we get to the asteroid belt, boom.
Right.
There'll be just tons and tons and tons of it.
But
so that's why I don't like commodity-backed money either, is because you're just every now and then, due to just random mining finds, are going to just suddenly be flooded with more money.
Can we all agree that legal tender laws are kind of a problem, though?
I agree with that.
I'll have to think about it. I'm not sure.
Government dictating that this is what money is.
This must be accepted
everywhere.
As money everywhere within what we claim as our jurisdiction.
Yeah. And I think Jackie's right. I mean, you could. And the asteroid belt thing will happen at some point, whether it's in our lifetimes or without. And I would agree that really does sort of potentially devastate the values of certain commodities. This is why I'm a big believer in the ideas behind Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, is that these things can be kept from doing that.
Right.
And the thing that keeps people from so right now, Bitcoin, and we talked about Bitcoin as software. That means that and in this case it's open source, which means anyone in the world can contribute to the project. They could write different rules. They could make it so there's 21 quadrillion Bitcoin.
Right. Let me sort of play the what if guy here, because Chris, you understand this stuff a little bit better than I do. Actually, a lot better than I do. I often say, I don't know how internal combustion engines work because I don't. But that doesn't mean that I don't use cars.
Right.
I don't need to know the exact formula for how a block is mined or any of the technical stuff to know that it works. But one of the initial things that, I was sort of stuck on, because I know what open source means, I can download the Firefox browser and I can go in and I can make tweaks, and then my Firefox browser looks completely different from your Firefox browser, but it's still the Firefox browser. So if I download the Bitcoin software, and then I say, well, I want there to be 21 quadrillion Bitcoin, then how is that then in everybody's, or does my version that I'm running on my computer have 21 quadrillion, and then I can just spend all of those on your network and inflate your currency?
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. You can do what is known as a fork. You can take the existing software, open source software, make your own changes, and release it. The way the rules work in Bitcoin is that if a majority of people valued Darryl coin over Bitcoin, with his 21 quadrillion Bitcoins in it, then...
No, I didn't change the name in my code.
Oh, it's okay. It's just still called Bitcoin. If a majority of people and a majority of miners and a majority of users of the software suddenly started using Darryl's software, then you would have a 21 quadrillion limit on Bitcoin. Now, this is where sort of the game theory and the economics comes into play. Satoshi did a lot of really interesting things, and a lot of the people that were involved early on did some interesting things, but they really made there are a lot of incentives that reward good behavior, and there's a lot of disincentives that punish bad behavior. So let's just say I call 19 quadrillion of my friends because I have them on other planets, and we all agree to run Darryl's software. Woo-hoo. So what did I do? So wow, now we have all these Bitcoins. They're all our Bitcoins. But what happens to the value of Bitcoin in economic terms? It's going to drop.
Right. The same thing that would happen if we wind up finding that asteroid that's full of 100 billion pounds of gold.
Right. So certain things, certain types of attacks against Bitcoin punish the attacker more than they punish everybody else. So it's sort of this built-in system. And like I said, 10 years as of today, this thing's been running without a major breach, without processing one single fraudulent transaction. That's something to behold.
Yeah, I mean, all the actual fraud has been people stealing people's keys or people uploading their Bitcoins to a company that turned out to not be trustworthy. Like if you went and put your money, if you went and put your money in a bank and then the bankers just took your money and left.
Right.
Which has happened.
Yes,
a lot over the last 105 years.
Yeah, and then the core feel and the core. This goes back to I think the Cypherpunks manifesto. This idea that you should be able to control your own financial transactions without having to trust anyone else. Yes. That's the big thing, and we talk a lot in cryptocurrency about trustlessness. I want to do anything I want, but I don't want to have to trust anyone else. That's a pretty powerful concept.
Yeah. Yes. And I mean, it may ultimately end up that it's going to be, advantageous over US dollars simply because it can't be counterfeited technologically. It can be, somebody can go start a new one, but they can't counterfeit the original pool of Bitcoin.
Right. And that has happened. I mean, we have Bitcoin Cash, and then what happened to Bitcoin Cash is it got forked into Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. So now we have Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, or I guess Bitcoin Cash is now Bitcoin ABC Cash.
They're still calling it Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah.
The software behind it
is called ABC.
ABC.
Yeah.
But then, there's also all of the Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Plutonium, Bitcoin Private.
Pizza, man. I love that one.
So speaking of Bitcoin Cash and deflation.
Yep.
So Bitcoin Cash was effectively deflating in the week before Christmas in that it was going up in value against the US dollar. So the amount of, maple sugar candies I could buy with whatever percentage of Bitcoin Cash was increasing. So if I had waited instead of going Christmas shopping, if I believed that it was going to continue to deflate, I wouldn't have gone and spent money at your store.
Yes,
I would have hung on to it and waited for it to be worth more so I could buy more later. And if I had an expectation that it would continue to deflate like that, I would hold off on spending.
It technically wasn't deflating because the supply wasn't going down.
The supply was actually increasing that whole time. And as we speak, we talk about deflationary currencies, but right now Bitcoin is inflating because every 10 minutes new Bitcoins are released.
Yeah, we're talking about price deflation versus actual amount in circulation deflation.
Correct. But what we see is fluctuation is just supply and demand of the asset itself. And that's what crypto is experiencing. And that's why we have these crazy ups and downs.
But it was functionally, from the perspective of anybody who's actually using it as money to buy things, it was deflating. And if I had more faith in it, I would have hung on to it instead of run out and spent it while it was up.
Yeah.
So
it's a constant challenge, especially for those of us who love this stuff. The one thing we want to do is spend it on one hand and promote it on one hand. On the other hand, we want to save it long term because we know the payoffs are going to be much better.
Well, I'm
Your
doing my part to
calls
spend it.
and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Jackie,
and Chris.
And a good night's sleep is important, and when it comes down to it, it's not how much sleep you get, it's the quality of sleep that you get, and the MyPillow is designed to help you get a good night's sleep. And with a 60-day money-back guarantee, you really have nothing to lose. So go to MyPillow.com, get 2 MyPillow premium pillows for one low price, and you get free shipping on all orders when you use promo code FTL. And remember, if for some reason you don't like the MyPillow, you have 60 days to return it for a refund of the purchase price. MyPillow.com, promo code FTL. So we've been talking a lot about money and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and stolen money, wampum, mining the asteroids, all kinds of interesting things. But let's change gears here. And Chris, you've got kind of a follow-up to something that we covered a while back about a guy in Oregon, I believe it was, that may or may not be an engineer, and he went to court over something because something about a red light camera.
Yeah, this comes to us from Reason and Darryl.
And I realized that my description there kind of sounded like a Sarah call, but I forget all of the specifics of the case.
I did too, but it was interesting. It was basically, we'll get into it. Yes. Federal judges ruled that Oregon's Board of Examiners for Engineering and Land Surveying violated the First Amendment when it tried to fine Mats Jarstrom, an Oregonian with a degree in engineering and years of experience in the field, for describing himself as, quote, an engineer, unquote.
All right, so hold on. Let me make sure here. He's got a degree in engineering. He says, I'm an engineer. And somebody with the Oregon Board of Examiners for Engineering and Land Surveying said, no, you're not.
No, you're not. Quit calling yourself that.
All right.
In a ruling issued Friday, U.S. Magistrate Judge Stacey F. Beckerman issued a permanent injunction against the board's enforcement of the relevant rules, which had included trying to fine Jarlstrom $500 for describing himself as an engineer in a non-professional context. Jarlstrom got on the board's bad side. Let me finish this paragraph. Let me do that, and it'll answer some of this. Jarlstrom got on the board's bad side because he tried to challenge a traffic ticket given to his wife by a red light camera in Beaverton, Oregon in 2013. He challenged the ticket by questioning the timing of the yellow lights at intersections where the cameras had been installed, using knowledge from his degree in electrical engineering and his experience working as an airplane camera mechanic in the Swedish Air Force. His research landed him in the media spotlight. In 2014, he presented his evidence on an episode of 60 Minutes and earned him an invitation to present his findings at an annual meeting of the Institute of Transportation Engineers, a trade group.
So this guy who has an engineering degree, wound up just like, you know what? There's some trickery going on with your red light cameras, studying this, file some kind of thing with the court saying, hey guys, I'm an engineer, you done goofed up, and by the way, did I mention I'm an engineer? And some engineering group said, hey, this guy's an engineer. We want him to come talk to our group.
Right.
And this board of land magicians decided that he's not actually an engineer because he didn't pay them money.
Enter the Oregon State Board of Examiners. It also got him in some unwanted attention from the Oregon State Board of Examiners for Engineering and Land Surveying, which said Jarlstrom's research into red light cameras and their effectiveness amounts to, quote, practicing engineering without a license, unquote. The board told Jarlstrom that even calling himself, quote, an electronics engineer and the use of the phrase, quote, I am an engineer, unquote, in his letter were enough to, quote, create violations, unquote.
So because he didn't give money to the Board of Land Magicians, and that's what I'm just going to call them, because
it's shorter.
Yeah, it's much shorter. You didn't give us money. Doesn't matter that you've got that fancy degree hanging on your wall there, Mr. Jarlstrom. You didn't give us money, so therefore, within the Beaver State, you cannot say you're an engineer. Doesn't matter that's the factual statement because of that fancy degree.
Right. And
give us money.
I got to tell you, I mean, I worked in IT for decades.
You either give us $500 as the fine, or, you know what, the license probably cost $500 as well.
Right. Working in IT for years. I mean, today, one of the biggest jobs is software engineer. If you're a software engineer, you've demonstrated your chops and people are paying you wages that are similar to what engineers make. And I don't know if there's an actual definition or a certification of software engineer. I've functioned as a systems engineer, as a network engineer. I've employed and hired people to be network engineers and systems engineers. But I don't know if I ever hired anybody that actually had a degree in engineering. Some of them might have had an AA in like electrical engineering or computer science, but what the heck? It's just a descriptor, but that's not how they see it.
Right, and isn't the fancy term for garbage man a sanitation engineer?
Sanitation engineer, there you go.
So this is basically just professional licensing gone mad.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Those regulations and enforcement actions, Beckerman ruled, are unconstitutional violations of the First Amendment. The judge directed the board to remove the definition of, quote, engineer from its rules and to limit its enforcement to individuals who falsely claim to be a, quote, professional engineer.
I mean, professional, I would just say they should stick to saying licensed. Because, like, professional, you could be an engineer, you could be working professionally in that field, but not licensed by the state.
Right. So I'm actually on the Land Magician page right now, and under applications, they have professional engineer registration, $400. The issuance of a temporary permit, $100.
Oh, what a deal.
Professional land surveyor registration, $400. Professional photogrammetrist registration, I probably mispronounced that.
That involves a whip, I think.
Issuance of a temporary permit, $100. Additional branch fee, $35. Certified water right examiner examination and certification, $200. And then there are fees for examinations. And then there are fees for renewals and other fees. So under the Oregon statute, a licensed engineer is referred to as a professional engineer.
This reminds me of becoming an ordained minister online. It's like you could pick your title.
Yes.
That's basically the equivalence of it. And you're right, Jackie. This is licensing gone mad. And all it does is increase. It perverts the marketplace.
Yeah, it decreases competition and makes it harder. And I could see if somebody is working on a bridge, they could want to have them be licensed by the state at the most. But just anybody anywhere doing anything engineering related, that's ridiculous.
Wouldn't it be the responsibility of the person paying them? So I could see
Which would be the state.
Yeah.
Bridges would be government contractors.
Well, yeah, but what if I needed a bridge on my property? There you might come across somebody who has some engineering. They got some engineering background. Right. They didn't finish, but they could probably build this little bridge for you.
So handyman. Basically, handyman in a lot of places would be, subject to some kind of, you did this thing and you didn't have our permission to do that.
Right, and even when it can intrude into private, and if it's the state, which I don't really approve of, but if the state wants to have requirements to do certain jobs, and one of our requirements is that you have a degree from a certified one of the colleges that we recognize, and that you're board certified through one of the agencies that we do that's great. Now, if I wanted to get a bridge done that I didn't have to worry about in my kind of society, then there would be some certification that doesn't necessarily have to flow through the state where somebody didn't have to pay $400. There might be a private agency that does those sort of a certification process.
Well, at least he wasn't trying to braid hair.
Oh, thank God. Can you imagine the mayhem?
Yes.
I know.
You have to have a cosmetology license to braid hair in many states.
And you also need a hair washing sink, and you need a certain number of square foot around the chair, and all of these other kinds of weird things. There's more on this Oregon engineer, not an engineer. Who is an engineer?
I drive a train.
Woo, woo. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. Join American Cannabis Summit online at acs2018.com. Attendance is free. That's acs2018.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 3rd, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,287 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.46 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,865. Antiwar.com reports a convoy of Kurdish troops has withdrawn from Manbij on Wednesday, according to the Syrian Defense Ministry, which estimates that around 400 of them are left. This was, by most accounts, materially all remaining Kurdish forces in Manbij. Manbij has been under the control of Kurdish forces and some small allied factions since 2017, when they seized the city with the support of U.S. forces. Turkey's military has announced intentions to invade the city, and large numbers of Turkish-backed rebels have gathered in the vicinity for this. At present, the only forces known to remain inside Manbij are U.S. and French troops, while a small number of Syrian army forces are deployed on the outskirts, intended to prevent Turkey and the rebels from seizing the city. What that's going to look like with the Kurds' withdrawal is unclear. Turkey wouldn't really have a justification to invade the city anymore at this point, but has long coveted the Euphrates River adjacent city as a staging area for attacks deeper into Syrian Kurdistan. The U.S. presumably does not intend to contest any Turkish advance, though it's not clear that they'll welcome the city being de facto seized by rebel groups that are aligned with Turkey. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc. UPI reports law enforcement officials in Houston arrested a 14-year-old on a murder charge Wednesday for a fatal crash spurred by a prank in which the boy and his friends threw eggs at motorists, according to the Harris County Sheriff. Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said officers booked the boy in the county juvenile detention center after being treated for a broken ankle sustained in the crash. The crash took place Tuesday after the boy, who was driving an SUV, and two companions allegedly threw eggs at fellow motorists. One, the driver of a 1970s model Lincoln, allegedly chased the teen and brandished a semi-automatic weapon. While fleeing the Lincoln, the 14-year-old ran a red light and struck a Ford F-150 pickup truck, causing the SUV and the pickup to roll into a nearby ditch. The driver of the F-150, whom Gonzalez identified as 45-year-old Sylvia Zavala, died. The sheriff described the woman as totally innocent. The driver of the Lincoln initially fled the scene, but Gonzalez said officials identified him and efforts are being made to interview him. No one else has been charged in the chase or subsequent crash. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports plant-based meat company Beyond Meat said on Wednesday the burger chain Carl's Jr. would add the firm's vegan imitation meat to its menu, the latest big-name restaurant chain to tweak its offerings to attract vegans and vegetarians. Los Angeles-based Beyond Meat, which counts actor Leonardo DiCaprio and Microsoft founder Bill Gates as investors, sells plant-based burger patties and sausages, heat and eat meals, and non-GMO foods at grocery store chains such as Kroger and Amazon's Whole Foods. Carl's Jr. said it would sell a meatless version of its famous Star Burger for $6.29 at most of its restaurants. Customers will also be able to order a Beyond Burger patty on any Carl's Jr. sandwich for an additional $2. The company uses ingredients that mimic the composition of animal-based meat, like proteins from peas, fava beans, and soy that look and cook like beef or chicken. More people are shifting towards vegan or vegetarian diets, perceiving it to be healthier amid growing concerns about animal welfare and the environmental impact of intensive animal farming. The company's founder, Ethan Brown, had earlier said the U.S. plant-based meat market could mirror the growth seen by the soy and almond milk industries. Beyond Meat's main competition, Impossible Foods, also launched burgers at more than 300 White Castle outlets in the United States in September. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The Surgeon General warns teens the cinnamon challenge is not for pussies. Taylor Swift is now dating the Watertown boat, and a middle-aged funeral director buys a flashy red hearse. We pity your pathetic dependence on this for your weekly news, but here we go anyway. This is the Onion Week in Review. A study released this week by the National Institutes of Health confirmed that for the 25th straight year, wolf attacks remain the leading cause of death in the United States. The Human Health Agency's findings confirmed that being viciously killed by a ravenous wolf claimed the lives of over 800,000 Americans last year alone, with researchers adding that one person in the United States dies every 40 seconds from a violent wolf attack.
The mortality rate associated with wolf attacks vastly outstrips the death tolls of cancer, stroke, and chronic respiratory disease. People should know that anyone... Oh, Jesus, no.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 3. You are free to call in and talk live to us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Darryl,
Jackie,
and Chris.
And we'll get back into the discussion here about the Oregon man who has an engineering degree but some group of bureaucrats, the Oregon State Board of Examiners for Engineering and Land Surveying, or as I've been calling them, the Oregon Land Magicians. I don't know how, when I was trying to shorten it, magician came in there. But, it's a really big, long title, and they're no.
They can magically grant engineering powers on people that pay $400.
Yes, that's exactly it. Plus a $55 examination fee if you need to take the Oregon-specific acoustical examination, or the Oregon-specific forest examination, the 4-hour land surveying examination, or the photogrammetry examination.
So, Darryl, some people listening may believe that you and I are just opposed to the idea of anybody needing licenses or certifications for anything. I think it's a really good thing for people to have some sort of a certification.
Yes.
And beneficial to them to be able to show that they have some skills that are marketable.
Right. And for certain things, you can go, if you want a CPR certification, you can go to any number of organizations that will certify you on how to do CPR.
Yeah, and you'll have to do it. You have to show them.
Right.
You have to demonstrate that you know how to do it.
You mentioned working in the computer field for a really long time, and there are certain certifications that say Oracle says you know how to use our software.
Right.
Microsoft has certifications. You know how to use our software.
Yeah.
There are probably some other things of you know how to use this. You know how to do a specific type of coding. Continuing on with sort of the electrical stuff, the lights in your house, or the lamps, the toaster in your house. Those didn't get, some government stamp of approval. Most likely they have an underwriter's laboratory certification and probably 3 or 4 other certifications from non-governmental organizations that say, yep, this isn't going to blow up when you plug it in.
Right. And that's the idea that the market can provide the service of certification, and you don't need government to do that. That this is something that developed through trade unions, not trade unions. What's the term? What am I thinking? Like the craft guilds and stuff like that.
Professional associations.
Professional associations today, but back in the day, it was like the Stoneworkers Guild and stuff like that,
which would be kind of a primitive trade union of some sort.
There was a lot of state power behind those guilds, though. Like they
developed.
They formed the guilds, and then they went and they got the state to say you have to be a member of this guild to practice.
Right.
But there was almost immediate regulatory capture there.
Right, and that happens in every aspect of government.
The American Medical Association is a perfect modern example.
Right. It wasn't started by government, nor were stonemasons guilds started by governments. But as soon as government saw it, and in some cases, maybe the guild members...
Yeah, it wasn't government seen. It was the guild members going to the government and saying, we don't want foreigners coming into our cities.
Right.
We want you to say they have to be a member of our guild.
Or perhaps maybe doctors saying, we don't like the fact that lots of people are becoming doctors.
Yeah, or in some states, it was a way to prohibit people from practicing homeopathy, chiropractic, acupuncture.
Well, homeopathy is just total BS. Like, that's just protecting people against fraud. So if you think government should be involved in enforcing rules against fraud, then yes, homeopathy.
I have a stone in my pocket that is helping me with my toothache.
Hold on. What's the other thing that I'm thinking of that isn't homeopathy, but it's
herbal medicine?
Yeah.
There's that. I mean, a lot of people very much question Eastern medicine. So there's a lot of people who question acupuncture and things like that.
Chiropractic.
The thing about alternative medicine is if it's found to work, then it's just called medicine.
By some. I think a lot of people still refer to that because the mainstream medical fields don't like it. But again, it's always an evolution. Marijuana was never seen as let me rephrase that. In modern times, since the pre-war on drugs, like starting in the 30s, nobody would ever have considered, prescribing marijuana for anything.
Well, it used to be a lot weaker too.
True, not nearly as good as what
prohibition.
They got now. Yeah. But those things are unintended consequences of government actions.
Alcohol got a lot more potent during alcohol prohibition as well.
Did it? Did they up the proof? I guess they were probably, if they were selling moonshine.
Yeah, it's very difficult to smuggle beer and wine because it's a lot, whereas you could smuggle a small amount of harder liquor. I think, remember we had the thing with the wine where they were selling grape juice with the warning, like, if left.
Yeah, don't leave this alone.
Concentrated grape juice.
Right, don't leave this in your closet.
Do not leave this in the closet for 21 days.
So
otherwise it turns into wine, and that is illegal.
So for things like beer and wine, that's easier for people to just make it home. But also it's difficult to smuggle because if you're trying to get thing past various, checkpoints, are you trying to get casks and casks and casks of beer, or are you trying to get like a case of bottles that's going to be worth a lot more? Because once you're smuggling, you're now considering what's the maximum amount of value I can fit into this, false wall or, false floor in my car or whatever.
Right. And you also created a black market. So I guess conceivably there may be, I wager there are black markets in a lot of trades. There are certainly people that operate in black markets, people that, braid hair illegally. There's your black market.
Well, technically something that you're doing that would otherwise be legal, but you just haven't gotten the licenses for it would be a gray market. Black market is products that are just straight up forbidden.
Okay, I can see that.
That's how like economists, especially when they're writing about like developing economies where there's even more ridiculous permits in a lot of places than here. So something that would be legal if you got all the required permits and licenses and whatnot from the government, gray market. Something that's just banned, period, black market.
Interesting. Because I know even California talks extensively about their black market in marijuana. The market that, people that just refuse to pay the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a license.
That's really just a misuse of the term.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Don't get me started on the incompetence of most economics journalism.
Well,
like not from actual cause, but journalists, there's an old editorial cartoon where the journalist is holding a dart, and on the dartboard there's like various topics, and the journalist is like, what am I an expert on today? And just,
And I would contend that there are very few journalists right now. There are a lot of people that report on the news, but very few actual journalists.
People who take the company or the government's press release, change 2 words, slap their byline on it, and send it to their editor.
Or they read Krugman's latest editorial. I'm just kidding.
Let's jump back into this story about the Oregon man that has an engineering degree, but he didn't jump through some kind of hoop and hurdle. So this sort of, black market, gray market, white market, where the Oregon Land Board something give us money said, you're not an engineer because you didn't give us money, so give us money. And he wound up going to court. And again, the specifics here is his wife got a ticket from one of these red light cameras. He did some engineering to figure out, wait a second, your things aren't working the way they're supposed to, and I'm an engineer, court. And this board said, you can't call yourself an engineer in court documents.
Yeah.
And the judge said, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
But
there's
again,
this thing called the First Amendment.
Yeah, there's more on this, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in lines over at discord.lrn.fm. This is Free Talk Live. Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses on the setup page, and then load the app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. AnyPay.global.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, Xkeyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey, y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now, here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now, they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. We'll get back into the story here from Reason in just a moment, and I will make sure that I post the links on the social medias. And before we continue, I want to make sure that I tell you that, for at least a decade that I'm aware of, actually over a decade that I'm aware of, libertarians have wanted a directory for liberty-minded businesses. Where can I find businesses run by people that are like me? And there have been attempts over the years that, they kind of start doing a thing and then they go away. Well, liberty.menu seems to be sticking around. And what it is a tool for our community. At its core, is a directory for events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, kind of like on Yelp, but there's also a bit of a social networking aspect so you can connect and share with others. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu. And if you use code FTL, you get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. We can't give you a discount because the website is free to use, so 10% off of zero, still zero. So you want something, right? Get a Free Talk Live listener badge. Use code FTL over at Liberty.menu.
And we've been talking about this case out of Oregon where some engineer dared call himself an engineer.
Yes.
Dear God.
Mats Jarlstrom.
Yes, and this has gone to court because he was doing some engineering work and
It's because he's Swedish, isn't it?
Probably. But we've got a lot of Swedes in the left coast. Jackie, I mean, you grew up in Washington State. Did you have a big Swedish population? Did you know them?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Scandinavians in Ballard.
Yeah. That was like a very common name where I grew up. But in any case, the judge in this one, Judge Beckerman, said those rules and enforcement actions, Beckerman ruled, are unconstitutional violations of the First Amendment. The judge ruled the board to remove the definition of, quote, engineer from its rules and to limit its enforcement to individuals who falsely claim to be a, quote, professional engineer, unquote.
And professional engineer being the terminology used in the Oregon State Board of Examiners and Engineering licensing thing. You paid us money, so you are a professional engineer.
There we go.
You don't pay us money, you're just an engineer.
Right. But you also had to take all their silly tests, which may or may not have been written by government bureaucrats. They may have been some of those questions may have been written by engineers.
Yes.
The ruling means that, quote, thousands of Oregon engineers are now free to describe themselves truthfully as engineers without fear of government punishment, says Sam Gedge, an attorney with the Institute for Justice, a libertarian law firm that represented Jarlstrom in the lawsuit against the board. Quote, the regulation of the title, quote, engineer, unquote, is more burdensome than necessary to protect the public from the unlicensed practice of engineering, unquote, wrote Beckman. Quote, the record demonstrates that the threat to free expression is not merely hypothetical, unquote. Indeed, the record is full of overzealous enforcement on the part of the Oregon State Board of Examiners for engineers and... Sorry, Darryl, what is our shortcut there?
The Land Magicians.
The Land Magicians. That board. The board investigated a Portland city commissioner in 2014 for publishing a campaign pamphlet that mentioned his background as, quote, an environmental engineer, unquote, even though the commissioner had a bachelor's degree in environmental and civil engineering from Cornell University, had a master's degree from MIT School of Civil Engineering, and was a member of the American Society of Civil Engineers. The board spent more than a year investigating the commissioner's background before voting to issue an official, quote, warning against using the word engineer incorrectly.
And I want to point out that environmental engineer, not something that this board winds up licensing.
Well,
it reminds me of the people that get arrested for the sole crime of resisting arrest.
Right.
Or the people that get arrested for doing something without a permit where there's not even a permit to do the thing that they were arrested for doing.
Right. And again, this guy was a Portland city commissioner who published a campaign pamphlet. That's it. That listed himself as being an environmental engineer.
Because he actually has a bachelor's degree in environmental and civil engineering.
From Cornell. Unbelievable. Yeah. And a master's degree from MIT school and a member, blah, blah, blah. In another case, the state board investigated a gubernatorial candidate for using the phrase, quote, I'm an engineer and a problem solver, unquote, in a campaign ad. The candidate in question, Alan Alley, had a degree in engineering from Purdue University and worked as an engineer for Boeing and, quote, and of course wasn't trying to lie about his lack of an Oregon-issued license. He was making a freaking campaign ad, so writes Reason here.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop in 2010. The state board fined a local activist $1,000 for illegally practicing engineering. More specifically, the activist had told the Lapine, Oregon City Council that a proper power plant would be too loud for nearby residents.
Proposed.
Proposed. Thank you. The board once investigated Portland Monthly for running a story that described a young immigrant woman as, quote, an engineer behind Portland's newest bridge, unquote. The woman in the story did not describe herself as an engineer, but the magazine's editors had included that description in their headline.
What?
So again, the board investigated.
We're investigating you for lying about being an engineer, even though you're not the one that said it.
Right. Well, no, they were investigating Portland Monthly, which is a magazine in Portland. Quote, for years, Oregon's engineering board has operated as if the First Amendment didn't apply to it, Gedge tells Reason. As the court ruling confirms, that could not be more wrong.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah. It's just a little bit of insanity for my home state.
Yes, and this is not to say that you won't wind up getting hit with some kind of practicing business without a license thing. If you say you're an engineer and somebody hires you to do a thing, but then you don't have a license to do the thing. But, good here at least that this guy that wrote in a court document, I'm an engineer and your red light cameras aren't working the way they're supposed to.
It's a plus for a couple things there. We like that. Go ahead.
I wonder when they started doing this, because my father was a software engineer for Hewlett-Packard in McMinnville, Oregon, and I don't know if he had to get a license to be a software engineer.
I doubt
it. But again, the article here has stories going back all the way to at least 2010.
Yeah. And,
this would have been the early 80s.
Yep, and McMinnville represent.
I don't know what that means.
Well, it means I've drank a lot in the town of McMinnville where her father was a software engineer.
Did he engineer beer?
No,
I just...
okay,
beer,
now I'm just really confused. Your calls and thoughts, welcome, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. This is Free Talk Live.
Now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
At WolfHillAmmo.com, we love shotguns. We offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market, including our defensive combo packs for home and retreat. Our less lethal combo is good for animal control, the four-legged kind and two-legged. When lethal force is necessary, reach for our Stop 'em, Drop 'em, or our home defense combos. These 5-round packs include different heavy hitters to protect your loved ones. Visit WolfHillAmmo.com to see our great prices on these combo packs and other specialty shotgun ammo rounds. WolfHillAmmo.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Jackie,
and Chris.
And want to thank the amplifiers, all of them, but specifically tonight we are thanking Silver Amplifier Sofa Kingdom, who donates at least $5 per month to be on that silver tier. You can donate more, and we appreciate if you do. We also appreciate everybody that gives the $5 per month to, again, help us do three things: advertise, market, and promote the show. And right now we're on about 190 radio stations across the country. We can wind up being on so many more if we're able to, get the show in front of program directors, who they're the ones that make the decisions to add us to those radio stations. And, there are times that we'll use some of the money to try to grow the audience as well through other means, try to get more podcast downloads, things of that sort. But Sofa Kingdom, we thank you. You are the amplifier of the night. And coming up, Jackie, you've got a story about some airplanes are noisy and somebody's making some kind of help me, I've heard an airplane button.
Yes.
We'll get into it. But first, to the phones, we've got David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, Chris, speaking of Oregon, what town in Eastern Oregon are you from again? I forget.
Ione. As in Ione, Oregon. I own the entire state. No, I don't.
Is that by LeGrand?
Not, well, it's weird because my immediate response is, no, not far. I mean, it's only like 2.5 hours away. Distances in western states are much different than distances in eastern states.
Yeah, exactly. Did you know any Hibbard or Cedars last name?
Nope.
Okay. Political racketeering 101. I tuned into the second biggest station in New Mexico, the one that used to carry you guys, and I heard reference to me by first name only. I'm on first name basis here, but what was interesting is that the political candidate that was running to be one of our two senators, the guy with the fun last name, McRich, and he's a businessman. He does commercial construction worth millions. And interesting thing is he is now on the radio every Thursday on this radio station. And like I said, it's basically one of two radio stations that plugs the Republican side of the equation nonstop. Interesting side note, New Mexico is now 100% Democrat as far as statewide offices. Not a single Republican candidate won any statewide office in this last election. So New Mexico and also the Senate and the legislature. I'm sorry, the Senate and the House in New Mexico is also majority Democrat. So New Mexico is solidly blue. But anyway, this McRich guy is he was asked after he lost if he's intending to run for anything else, and he clearly said that he is, and so now he's on the radio on the station every Thursday. And I have a question for you. The owner of that station announced he was running for the mayor of Albuquerque, and he was promptly shot down by other people in the political scene in New Mexico because he is the owner and daily on-air host as well as the content controller 24/7 of that radio station. And they filed against him or indicated they were going to go after him for what they're calling electioneering. So I have a question. If this McRich guy is now an every Thursday on-air personality on this radio station, and he's indicating that he plans to run for office, is that also electioneering?
I don't know the definition of electioneering in New Mexico, so I don't know the answer to the question, David. Thank you for the call. But in some places, electioneering is defined so broadly as to do anything to influence the outcome of an election.
Yeah, and so is the fair time rule?
No.
Okay, that's not a thing.
Not at the federal level. There might be something at a state level.
Yeah, I would.
And again, I don't know what the laws are in New Mexico because I have never had to wind up doing any campaign stuff in New Mexico.
Darryl, we just assume that you know these laws from every state. We expect that of you. And when you say you don't know, a little part of us dies on the inside.
I do know a lot of the federal laws, even though I didn't comply with them in 2016. I know what most of them are. That way I would know whether or not I was breaking them.
Well, yeah, you were
Darryl,
proud of it.
Are you saying when you ran for president, you just assumed you weren't going to be getting New Mexico's delegate votes?
No, so the way the libertarian process goes doesn't use taxpayer-funded primaries in all of the states. There are a handful where it does, but no, like presidential candidates are subject supposedly to federal regulations, not state regulations. And even here in New Hampshire, they tell you if you are running for federal office, you don't have to apply or comply with the state regulations. You're subject to these over here.
Yeah, so I'm going back to the equal time rule, and I just, because U.S. radios must provide, I'd have to research this. I'm not sure if there's not an FCC rule.
There's not.
There is not? Okay.
That's why conservative talk radio, really sort of came to be a thing when the equal time rule went away. There are people that will say equal time rule applies, and under one interpretation of the campaign finance rules, you could wind up construing that if you only give one candidate access to a thing, then you're giving an in-kind contribution. But that's not equal time. That's something else. So if you're having a debate, but you only invite candidates who have the name Hillary Clinton,
for example,
then that's an in-kind contribution to the Clinton campaign. That's not a debate. And I forget where it was.
I disagree with you there. That's just slush money.
Under the federal definitions, it's an in-kind contribution.
Okay. I thought that was just paying Bill for a really
there
nice
was
speech.
I forget which state it was, where the Libertarian candidate has filed some kind of complaint because some TV station wanted to do a debate. The Republican said, I'm not showing up. And so they basically wound up giving, here's a 1-hour commercial for the Democrat, and didn't invite any of the other candidates. So he's saying, hey, wait a second. This is an illegal contribution because your airtime is valued at X, and you wound up giving this to one specific candidate, and you shouldn't have been able to do that. So, there might be some state laws that apply, but it's technically not the equal time rule.
Right.
So let's jump into this airplanes are noisy story. I guess, headline, airplanes are noisy.
No.
Spoiler warning. No, people get upset when I wind up saying things that everybody knows.
Yes, but
Darth Vader is Luke's father.
You're simplifying the thing. So this is from last week's Washington Post, and it's the title of the article is Button Offers Instant Gratification for Those Plagued by Airplane Noise. So this is a new product.
Help, I've heard an airplane. And it was noisy.
Okay, now Darryl, it's later in the article. I just want to say up front, the people who are complaining using these buttons, the flight paths actually changed a couple years ago when they started using new software that let them navigate via satellite instead of radar. So people whose houses were not in flight under flight paths when they bought them and didn't hear any airplanes for 10 years are now hearing them many times per day.
Okay.
So these aren't just people who moved in underneath a flight path and then complained. But there's a new product that will file complaints for you, and I'm hoping to see that people will come up with other ways to expand this to other government services.
Ooh, interesting.
An easier way to complain about the government?
Snowplows are noisy.
It's like the button that lets you order detergent from Amazon, but it files a complaint.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. Join American Cannabis Summit online at acs2018.com. Attendance is free. That's acs2018.com.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts. If you call in now, again, to 855-450-FREE, there's also the Discord on-air call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. We'll get back into the airplanes are noisy story. And yes, I realize I'm oversimplifying, but, airplanes are noisy. But first, what I tell you about the Ronald McDonald House Charities and part of the reason why I'm doing a fundraiser for them. In October, I'll be running the Chicago Marathon for the Ronald McDonald House Charities charity team, and I need to raise a minimum of $1,250. I would like to raise $2,000. And just over 17 years ago, I wound up needing to use a Ronald McDonald House charity, so I know how important they are for what they do to help families stay together when they really need to stay together. Donation of just $25 can provide dinner for a family while they're staying at the Ronald McDonald House, or $80 covers the cost of a room for a night. Again, help me raise $2,000 for Ronald McDonald House Charities, not only to help me achieve the goal, but also to help children stay close to their families when they need it most, because I've needed it myself. You can donate over at rmhc.fppradio.com. That's rmhc.fppradio.com. So it's Darryl, Jackie, and Chris in studio. And Jackie, you've got the story about some guy that he took some kind of, what'd you say, like an Amazon
dash button,
and he repurposed it to file a complaint that says airplanes are noisy.
Yes, so sort of just jumping in the middle here. Air Noise is the brainchild of Chris McCann, who repurposed the same plastic dash button that Amazon customers use to order toilet paper and detergent. One click of the red and white button, and McCann's software program sends a detailed complaint directly to the FAA. Airport authorities don't make it easy to file noise complaints, but we do, McCann's site boasts. With a click of a button, instantly locate loud, bothersome flights, automatically file a complaint, and get back to things that matter to you. Now, this was launched in 2017 because a bunch of the flight paths changed, and so people who did not previously live under flight paths are now getting terrorized by airplane noise many times per day. But what's interesting is they've now filed like thousands and thousands of complaints. They've got.
I'm on the website right now, airnoise.io.
Yes.
And according to the website here, they have filed 7,146 complaints in the last 24 hours.
Oh, wait, I just got further down. He sent out almost 1,000 clickers. They've filed over 1 million noise complaints. Now, what's interesting is that
174,524 complaints. 34 airports nationwide currently.
Yeah, so what's
had
interesting is the
filed.
FAA set up this very complicated process for filing noise complaints.
Yes, of
so
course
that
they
most
did.
people wouldn't use it, and then they could say, oh, well, we've only gotten a handful of complaints.
Right.
Now,
Right.
people are using these devices to automatically file over 1 million of complaints. And they're still not doing anything about it, which sort of indicates that the whole complaint process was just there for show, and they made it purposely difficult so that people... Yeah.
Maybe.
And it's like, there's also a whole interesting property rights discussion to have about who owns the airspace and the noise level. Unfortunately, I don't think we have time for that tonight. But yeah, I couldn't go... I went through this whole thing, and as far as I can tell... They've filed all these complaints, and the FAA is like dutifully logging them and not doing anything.
So
they'll hire more bureaucrats to go through them.
I'm on the FAQs about air noise. Why use airnoise.io instead of the local airport authority website? And they start by saying, have you ever tried to file a noise complaint with an official site? Most of them are cumbersome and time-consuming to use and require you to fill out a web page and all the details of the disturbance every single time. Many enforce a 15 to 30-minute delay between when the aircraft flies over your house and when they allow you to file the complaint.
Yeah, so by then, do they even know what flight it is?
Some sites actually store your information, so you don't have to re-enter it every time, but you still have to log in and provide some information about what bothered you. We don't put you through that. Just click the button, send a text, or tap the icon on the website, and you're done.
Wow. I'm now I'm at the FAA's page to see what to do.
I'm sorry.
What to do if I'm impacted by aircraft noise. Number one, I need to go check my local telephone directory for airport telephone numbers. Many airports also have their noise abatement information and contact information published on their website. If I believe the aircraft to be flying unsafely, then this is an issue for my local FAA Flight Standards District Office, or FSDO. Then it goes into a section about helicopter noise, military aircraft noise, and then into the whole section about the FAA Aviation Noise Ombudsman, who are out there, serves as a liaison with the public on issues. And here you can contact them and provide your name, street address, cross street, zip code, state, approximate start date and time of event, description, the type of aircraft causing the complaint, aircraft description. So grab your binoculars and get those tail letters off of it. The airport source, where was the plane flying from, as if you would know that. Repeat occurrence and officials contacted to date.
And now you can just press a button.
Now, I could do it this way, though.
Hold on, Chris. Once you have your binoculars and you see the tail number, you can go over to Flight Aware and then type in the tail number, and you can see where it's been.
I know that. I use FlightAware, and there's all sorts of things you could do.
And then, you said that this was 737. It was actually
737B. 200. 737-200.
Oh,
dang
you
it,
said
wrong
that
one.
It was. You said it was a CRJ 900. It was actually an Embraer.
Okay. You can stop trotting out your airline nerdery. What I liked about it is this is just a wonderful example of a few things. One, just the market providing a solution to a cumbersome government process, like the robots that challenge, or not robots, but like the AI that challenges traffic tickets for you.
A little bot.
Yeah.
But also just the fact that they apparently didn't ever really intend to deal with any complaints. They just made a really difficult process. So they said, only we got a few. And now that they're getting millions, they're like, but they're all from just a few people, is their new excuse.
Well, yeah. And I don't know there's two ways to look at it. We've got this devious idea. We're going to let the people complain, but we're going to make it so cumbersome that the complaints will never really make it to us. And I don't know how many government employees go to that much thought. I think more likely is it's just incompetency in government, that they were like somebody, and it was probably based on some complaint by some congressman who said, you got to come up with a way that people can report noise complaints because my constituents are complaining.
Right.
And then they do, in typical government bureaucratic fashion, create a convoluted solution.
And they might not realize how convoluted it is.
Right.
Because where'd the airplane come from? Well, we kind of need to know that to know, which flight it was. But what we really meant was it coming from the east, the west, the south? But, you're expecting to, I don't know what city it came from. Screw this. I'm not going to fill it out.
Right.
And if you've ever seen the TV show Undercover Boss, and I realize we're talking about, private business in that respect, but you've got these people that are essentially bureaucrats. When you're, like the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, that's essentially a bureaucracy.
You pretty much don't know what's going on.
You're so out of touch with what the guy at the local office is actually doing. And then you've got some CEO that goes in disguise. Hell, some of them could probably just wind up, going without the disguise and just throwing on whatever, the work uniform is, show up. Nobody's going to recognize him because they've never seen the guy before. But he's going to be like, wait, why are you doing it this way? This makes no sense. Well, some jackass CEO said we've got to do it this way.
I love that.
Another thing I really like about the story is where he got the idea. He went on to try and file complaints, found it difficult, wanted to come up with an easier way to do it, and, quote, he remembered reading a story about a guy who rigged a dash button to donate $5 to the American Civil Liberties Union every time he got angry at President Trump.
So what a great, that's as great as the story.
And now I'm bankrupt.
Yes, exactly. So I thought that was great. He's like, oh, hey, we can make buttons that people can push when they're mad about something, and it'll do something about it.
The only thing that would make this funnier is if they took the Staples Easy button and rigged that up with Wi-Fi.
I just want to see this technology expand. This just makes sense for solving a lot of problems, not just with government. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
A button to click when you're mad.
Yeah,
we're out of time for tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow because we're live every night of the week and always online at freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
There are such things called a breatharian. And you know what? George Norrie doesn't eat, sleep, or drink either. Did you know that? Yes. You know what? He never gets tired of...
George Norrie, the host of Coast to Coast AM, you believe... Let me just make sure I heard you correctly. You don't believe that he drinks, that he eats, and that he sleeps? Is that what you said? I just want to make sure.